Yo, what's going on, boys? Dan from DNR Sports here. Today, we're going to be taking a look at the Saints roster. The team review we got here. We're going to look at the fantasy ins and outs, and the just overall team aspect of this. So, obviously, Drew Brees is retired. That leaves I wouldn't even say a big hole on this team. I would say like maybe leadership wise, a big hole is missing. But for the play itself, I think Jameis Winston, to be honest, could be a better option. The Saints haven't had a downfield presence in I don't know how long. Um, Having Jameis come in and have a fresh pair of arms to chuck that ball down the field to get Traquan and Deontay Harris actually involved in this offense for once in their careers, it's going to be pretty weird. Traquan might be a sneaky good player this year. He might get a bunch of downfield targets. So we remember how Chris Godwin and Mike Evans were able to have wide receiver one performances in the same season. I think Mike Evans had like 1,100 yards and 1,100 yards and like 11 TDs, and Chris Godwin had like 1,300 yards and 9 TDs, something like that. Both very good, obviously. I think Michael Thomas is going to do better than both of those. I think for my projections, I had Michael Thomas at about 1,600 yards with like 7 TDs and 135 receptions. I don't see how he doesn't just return to that pace from 2 years ago, right? Like, what the only difference last year was he had a busted ankle the entire year, and it was Taysom Hill like running the ball 20 times a game, and Kamara running the ball 20 times a game. It was not the Michael Thomas show. That's not what the Saints wanted to do. It's not what they had to do. Now with Jameis Winston under center, who's probably gonna throw close to like 4,500 yards. I have to see at least 1,500 coming from Michael Thomas. Um, he's going to finally be able to use his route running ability deep down the field for once. You guys got to understand, Drew was like really bad downfield, like really bad. That's why Michael Thomas was called Slant Boy. I don't actually believe he can only run slants. I think he's a very talented receiver, one of the best route runners in the league, period, not just slants. And as I said before, Traquan might make an appearance this year. Deontay Harris, not as high on, but he's a speedster. Marcus Callaway, and then beyond that, it's like rookies are just scrubs. Another point to talk about is Adam Troutman. I see him getting drafted way too high in fantasy leagues. I have never seen a tight end with, look at this, ready? 15 receptions, 171 yards, and 1 TD get drafted so high. I don't get it at all. Let me bring it up on DraftKings right here. Where is he going with? He's going ahead of Jonnu Smith, right by Hunter Henry and Gronk, like right with them. Miles above. I take Gronk and Henry, Jonnu. I take Cook, Hooper for sure, Ebron, Ertz. Like I take most of these guys above Troutman. I don't understand the love for this guy. Like he was a rookie last year. He did literally nothing. Do you guys remember, if you guys play his DFS, everyone played him that one week when he was 2,500, the bare minimum, and he got you a 0, like a straight up 0. Like that's I don't understand what you see here. Jameis has never been like a fan of his tight ends. Like OJ did all right, but like he likes chucking it downfield. Let's actually check out Adam Troutman's player profiler real quick. Okay, they have Captain America. This better, yeah. What the, like he's slow. He was a 3rd-and-a-half round pick. Like this isn't a stud first round tight end that had a rookie year to get settled. Like there's nothing nice about this. Looking at his game log, his routes are horrid. Like, okay, he gets a couple. He didn't even play all these games, first of all, but he gets like max 20 routes a game, max 3 targets a game. Like, what are we drafting? Anyways, that's all I'm going to talk about Adam Troutman like forever. Never again am I mentioning his name. So I do like Jameis for fantasy. I love Michael Thomas for fantasy, especially where they're going. Jameis is like quarterback like 28 or something. Like he needs to be higher. And Michael Thomas is like receiver, I think like 11 or 12. He's my number 2 receiver. He's right behind Devontae. Half PPR, that's a different story. I'm talking DraftKings full PPR. He is right behind Devontae. Now Alvin Kamara, the trickiest part of this offense. I think he's, in my projections, he's only behind CMC and Barkley. And those projections are full 16. I'm not doing 17 game projections. Full 16 game projections based on their previous seasons. It's not including injuries, so it's like not predicting that Saquon gets injured or struggles through that injury. Like that's something you got to factor in as it is. But just based on the touches and what they get, catches and shit like that, CMC is far and away number 1. And then it's I think Saquon's ahead by like 7 points over Kamara. And then it's like Cook right behind them. But like Henry's not even in the mix. I think you draft Kamara over Henry all day, every day. Kamara this year, I don't think he'll take a dip in targets, to be honest. Like last year, something interesting. Last year, if we look at all the stats compared to previous years, he actually had the most targets and most receptions he's ever had, even when Taysom Hill had a bunch of those shitty games, right? So Kamara's not a 1,000-yard rusher, right? He's like anywhere from like 700 to a 900-yard rusher. Receiving, he's anywhere from like 700 to 800. So all-purpose yards, if he can get to like 600 or 1,600, like that's perfect, right? Where he really like strives is TDs, 8, 14, 5, 16, and then combined with receiving 5, 4, 1, 5, right? So Kamara, obviously we understand like he's a pass catcher and a touchdown scorer. He's not a yardage guy. Reception numbers 81, 81, 81, 83. Nothing dipped down last year. Nothing is going to dip down this year. I have full faith that Jameis will get him at least like 6 to 8 targets a game. Now that the defenses can't just play like super high press on them because they're not like Drew didn't scare defenses, right? Now with Traquan and Jameis, running the outsides, like I think that defenses will have to respect that a little bit. I know it's like, respecting Jameis Winston, that's two words you probably never heard together, but like you have to respect that he can throw the ball far. Moving on to the offensive line. So PFF had them last year as the 8th overall offensive line. Obviously, Teron Armstead and Ryan Ramczyk are just disgusting. The best tackles in the game, pretty much behind Bakhtiari. They have him coming in as 4th this year. They really like what they brought in. I like what they brought in. Having the 4th overall offensive line, right, with arguably the most talented running back in the league, with arguably one of the most talented receivers in the league. Like, how does Jameis mess this up? You know what I mean? He's got 2 speedy guys with one of the best route runners and one of the best just elusive running backs. I don't see how he doesn't succeed here. This is just a nice place to be in. It's not like Tampa, where Tampa was so bad at their O-line. Oh my goodness, they let him get sacked so many times. No wonder he had 30 picks that season. This is a good O-line with a good supporting cast. I think he'll be very efficient in this offense. And as we know, like this defense, they lost Janoris Jenkins and Quan Alexander, but besides that, everything kind of stayed intact. I do have this as a top 10 defense still, especially in the second half of the year. That's when the Saints do this weird thing where they're like an all right defense at the beginning of the year, but as good coach teams do, like the Patriots and whatnot, they tend to come on towards the end of the year. And we saw, I think it was about midway through the season, the Saints defense turned into the best defense in the NFL last year. It was honestly just so impressive. They still got Lattimore, Malcolm Jenkins, Marcus Williams. That's just disgusting. Then they have C.J. Gardner-Johnson, who's just a fucking retard. He just throws punches at every kid he sees. It's besides the point. Well, I'm sorry. He didn't throw the punch. He just he pisses off every player he sees and gets them to punch him, right? Then we got Cameron Jordan, obviously beast. Marcus Davenport, see what he can do. He's been injured most of his career. We'll see what he does coming in. DeMar Davis, obviously, Pete Werner. Like this is fine. This is a fine defense, a well-coached team that I see being probably. I think I had them as the 12 to 13 win category. Yeah, 12 to 13 wins I had in my tier list. If you guys go back a couple of videos and look at that, this is the team that is going to make sure the Bucs are not the number 1 seed in the NFC. For some reason, my gut is telling me the Bucs will do fine in the playoffs. They might even win the Super Bowl, right? But for some reason, I feel like in the regular season, their schedule is just not easy enough. So, I think it's because the Saints. The Saints are just a good, hard to play team, right? But that's going to do it, guys. I think the Saints. Great fantasy option, great team overall. Honestly, for the Super Bowl odds, I think I saw some Super Bowl odds of them like really bad, like 16th or 20th, like somewhere in there overall in the league. It was abysmal. They had like some random scrubby ass teams ahead of them. I would honestly, if I had to pick a team based on odds, I'd probably take the Saints just because I'd get so much money. If I won, it was like plus like over 2K. But yeah, so that's going to do it, boys. If you liked it, drop a like, leave a comment. Please let me know what you guys want to see. Sub if you're new around here. Turn the post notifications on so you catch every single video. Go check out some of the other team reviews I've done. Let me know what you think. And I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.
Can never ever find the right words, and there's no way this is real life. There's no telling you're the right girl, so I can only say that it feels right.